Nothing gets me more excited than a newly released Spyderco exclusive. What's good? Bevan here with Tried and True EDC. Today we're going to be taking a look at the River's Edge Cutlery Spyderco Shaman. This recently dropped. It is coming in 10V with what they call the Python Micarta scales. Before we jump in, let's talk really quickly about what can you expect when you buy an exclusive. So you do get the standard, typical Spyderco packaging on most of their knives. And this one comes with a poker chip. Has a python on one side and some other details on the other. And what's kind of cool about Spyderco exclusive as well as sprints, they do come with a little letter that talks about the exclusive or sprint and just some details about the steel, who they made it for, and also the scales. Go ahead and set this aside. All right, let's talk about the blade. So this is in CPM 10V. Now, interesting thing about 10V is that it's closely related to K390, which is a boulder steel. And it's only surpassed in edge retention by 5 other steels, which is Maximet Rex 121. We have Z-Max 15V, and then a stainless steel, which is S125V. It's got a beautiful satin finish to it, drop point blade. It's got nice effective jimping right here. It's got some jimping for your finger choil as well. You can see the markings. You got the Spyderco insignia right there. And where it's made, Golden, Colorado. That is Sal Glacier's initials. Boy, that is a beautiful blade. So much shine to that satin finish. You can see the grind lines, very subtle. So beautiful. It's got a thumb hole for the opener. Let's see if it's sharp. All right, so we've got some magazine paper, a zip tie, and some 3/8 rope. Start with the paper. Like butter. What about the zip tie? All right, that was fairly easy. And then the rope. Oh, those are clean cuts right there. Go back to that paper. Very well done. I have not been disappointed by a Spyderco Edge so far. Let's talk about that handle. I would say next to the steel, the handle is probably the most interesting part of this exclusive. So it's got a combination of, it is micarta, and it's got a combination of black with some light brown and even some red tones. And it's supposed to mimic the scales of a python. Just gorgeously done. It is canvas, so it does have a little bit of grippiness to it. Look at that. It is a compression lock as well, which Spyderco is quite famous for. And you can orient the clip in multiple ways, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Feels nicely grippy in hand, not overly. G10 is definitely more grippy than the micarta material. It's got two areas of hardware for the back spacer. You got a stop pin as well as your pivot screw right there. Let's take a look at some size comparison real quick. So we do have a pair of 3 lightweight on the bottom. We got a Manix 2 up top. It does dwarf both of those knives. Let's swap out the pair of 3 for a PM2. Well, the PM2 is longer overall length. And And that's why don't we add a military 2 as well? So yeah, feels in comparison to the military 2, I would say comes in right between the Manix 2 and PM2. Let's talk about the opening and closing action. So thumb hole is the opener. Now you can front flip this with a little bit of wrist action. It will fly out. If you try to do it slowly, you'll get to a point where it doesn't really open all the way. So that wrist action will help. I don't typically open this with a front flip action though. So mainly just using the thumb hole. You can slow roll it open. It is on washers. And it is drop shut, which is very nice right out the box. It's even very well centered. It's not, the D10 is, I would say, medium strength. It's not that snappy, but it is a heavier blade, so it does take more inertia for it to kind of swing open and give that snap. Very nice indeed. Compression lock right there. So this does have that nub that when you close it all the way, that portion of the finger twirl will hit your finger. So it doesn't quite close if your finger continues to depress the compression lock. Not really a big deal by any means though. Let's talk about that pocket clip. So this is the typical hourglass shape. It does use a different pocket clip screws pattern versus a lot of their other knives, such as the PM2, as you can see. It is 4-way adjustable, as I've mentioned. So tip up, tip down, left, right, doesn't really matter. All the options are there. Let's take a shot of this in the pocket real quick. Oh yeah, that's a good amount of knife sticking out. If you're someone who doesn't mind a portion of your knife in your pocket sticking out, I think this is the right amount, right? It does give you enough purchase so you can extract it easily. In terms of real estate, I would say it takes up a little bit more than, let's say, the PM2 or even the Para 3. But it probably is very similar to the Manix 2. And the Manix 2 is probably wider overall, especially at this point. Great clip retention, easy to extract, easy to put in. Very functional pocket clip. Let's talk about the ergonomics. I love the Shaman. It's one of my favorite models and it's very comfortable in hand. Either you're gripping down without using a finger twirl in a hammer grip, change it to a saber grip, still comfortable. Reverse grip, though I don't typically use my knives in a reverse grip. That's comfortable as well. Now choke up into the finger twirl, you got more control and it is still comfortable. You might feel just a hint of pressure right there against this portion of your palm. That's still very comfortable. It is more stout in hand versus the other models I compared it to earlier. So there is that. So it fills your hand a little bit more. Very comfortable though. I do like how effective jimping is. I would like to see more jimping that accommodates the finger twirl though. So if you're gripping up into the finger twirl, having some jimping right here could be useful. Or maybe if you're using more detail work, that would help. All right, let's talk about cost and availability. The cost on this one was $279.95. However, it is sold out. I've already seen a couple of these pop up on the secondary market, specifically bladeforums.com, and they're going for slightly above to substantially above retail. So one was only $10 more, the other one was up to $325 for this. I do expect this to sell for more on the secondary market, primarily because you've got the combination of an exclusive, which for the most part, as long as it has the right combination of materials and colors, depending on the market that's appealing to, it will sell out quickly and typically more on the secondary market. But with 10V, which has high edge retention and has a decent amount of toughness for how high the edge retention is, then, well, yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's a great steel to have. And then also just very unique on the micarta handles. I'm sure this is going to be more specific about the audience it appeals to. Right? Not everyone wants to carry something that looks like snakeskin in their pockets. I personally think this is really nicely done, especially with how the colors are matching up. Did a great job reflecting what, in my mind, the perception of snakeskin would look like. But unfortunately, it is not currently available unless you're searching the secondary market. What are my final thoughts? I have plenty of Shaman models in my collection. It is one of the top 5 models for me from Spyderco. It's got I like the blade shape. A lot of times you get either the modified clip point, such as the PM2, or you're getting the leaf shape blade, such as the Manix 2. For me, as much as I enjoy those two different blade shapes, I really enjoy just a simple drop point blade shape. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Shaman appeals to me. And I've made comparison videos with this versus the Bodacious. And really, it's a slimmed down version of the Shaman. It doesn't have the finger choil, so you're getting more cutting edge. And the nub does not contact your finger as you're closing it if you kept it there. So they've done some modification to the Bodacious, but with the Shaman, it's still one that I really like. And in full disclosure, I still like this more than the Bodacious, even though it seems like they've made adjustments, improvements from those adjustments. Ergonomics are excellent on this one, as I mentioned. I do plan on putting this 10V to a test. As you may or may not know, I do have a testing series that I cut tons of cardboard with, and so I'm planning to do the same with this 10V steel. Nothing makes me happier to know that my knives can function and they cut, right? That's the purpose of a knife. So very excited to have this in the collection. And if you're able to get one, I would say anything 300 or less, I would say that's a really good deal. Shamans, just with everything, prices have been going up. I know that the only other Shaman that has been at that price point of $280 is the Sprint Run, which is the carbon fiber with S90V steel. So this is just as expensive as that one, which would make it equally expensive versus the other Shaman exclusives that have come out. Just another close look, slow look. And I'm excited to see how the micarta will patina over time. Because for the most part, when it out the box, it was a little bit lighter than this. I've handled it for a few days now, and so yes, it's darkened up a little bit. But I saw a picture on River's Edge Cutlery, and they did show the contrast between a newly purchased Shaman of this one versus what it looks like over time, and it really darkens up. But I do like that about micarta. You can easily clean it up to bring back the brightness of the micarta if you don't want the dark, if you don't want the patina look to it. Let me know if you got one of these as well, how excited you are about it. I'm always excited when the Spyderco exclusive comes out. I've been a big Spyderco fan probably within a couple years into collecting. So I continue to always try to grab the newest exclusive from them, specifically the models I really like. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. Happy to address them. As always, truly appreciate you tuning in, and stay frosty.